twists, and ankles. Let's begin now by focusing on the wrists by practicing a powerful pose called reverse dog. Start on the floor on all fours. Your knees are bent on the floor and the palms of your hands are flat down on the floor directly under your shoulders. Next, I want you to very carefully turn your hands outward more and more and more until the fingers are pointing backwards in the same direction as your toes. So you literally turn your hands around so the fingertips are pointing backwards instead of pointing forwards. It's normal to need to bend your elbows here, so go ahead and do it if you need to. It's also normal for the palms of the hands to be lifted up off the ground a little bit, so that's okay too. Lastly, if your fingers are unable to twist all the way backwards, just do your best and stay where you are in the rotation. It'll get easier as the days move on. As we move forward here, be sure to move very slowly and very carefully. This is an extremely leveraged stretch. What I mean by that is it's easy to push too far, too fast. Avoid that by listening to your body and backing off if you feel any sharp pain. We'll hold this pose for a total of just 3 minutes, but if you need to come out after 1 or 2 minutes, that's fine too. Let's go deeper now. If you're ready, first make sure your fingers are spread out as far as possible, ideally with your entire hand and finger pads flat on the ground. The more spread apart your fingers are, the more balanced and supported your wrists will be. Next, gently lean back, moving your bum towards your heels to increase the stretch in your wrists. Drop your head completely and breathe deeply, nose to mouth breathing. The final step is optional and should only be done if you're able to keep your hands flat on the floor with your fingers spread widely, and if that feels comfortable and not strained. If that's you, the final step is to tuck your toes under and press back into a reverse downward facing dog. Drop your head, look at your knees, and relax. This will feel awkward and strange at first. It's inevitable. So move carefully and focus on your wrists. You want to feel them stable. You want to feel your fingers spread. And again, if you feel any sharp or shooting pain, immediately back off, putting your knees back on the ground. Otherwise, stay here in reverse dog, breathe deeply, allow your wrists to gently open. As you breathe here, use nose to mouth breathing, just like we've done before, inhaling deeply through your nose, exhale completely through your mouth. We're nearly there, continue on your own, and when you hear the tone 3 times, sit back in child's pose and relax. Continue breathing on your own. Twister pose. Lie on your back on the floor and bend both your knees to your chest. Next, cross your right leg over the left leg and try to double cross your legs if possible. Double crossing your legs is when you cross your thighs on the top and then on the bottom you wrap your right foot around the left shin too, if possible. Now most people are unable to double cross their legs on their first try. It feels too difficult. That's okay. You can still do twister pose very effectively, and you'll find that the double cross will come quickly over time. So now with your right leg crossed over your left leg, and perhaps even double crossed, the next step is to place your left hand on the knees and gently press them down to the left. Your knees may or may not go all the way to the floor, but that doesn't matter at all. The important thing is to get a big stretch. Take your right arm and extend it all the way out to the right. Turn your head and look out at your fingertips. So here we're gently pressing the legs to the left and stretching your arm to the right and looking in the direction of your right fingertips. We'll hold this now for a minimum of 3 minutes. But if you can, stay with me for the full 5 minutes. As you hold here, if you're not feeling a big twisting stretch, there are a couple things to consider. Firstly, make sure that your legs are crossed tightly and are not coming apart. The tighter you cross your legs, the better and the deeper the stretch. Secondly, if you do not have your legs double crossed right now, occasionally throughout the practice, try again to double cross that right foot around your left shin. The double cross increases the stretch as well. And finally, with the gentle guidance of your arms, feel your body twisting and stretching deeply with gravity. Together, we'll inhale deeply through our nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale completely through your mouth. Continue breathing on your own, staying here for the full 5 minutes if possible. Allow your body to relax, focus on your breath, and don't move. Twister pose, change sides. On your back on the floor, bend both your knees to your chest. This time, cross your left leg over the right leg and try again to double cross your legs if possible. Just a reminder, the double cross is when you take that left foot and wrap it all the way around the right shin. So the thighs are crossed on top and the shins crossed down below. That's a double cross. If that's happening today, that's great. If it's not, that's okay too. With your left leg crossed over your right and perhaps even double crossed, the next step is to place your right hand on top of the knees and gently press them down to the right. The legs may or may not go all the way to the floor. That doesn't matter at all. The important thing is to get a big twisting stretch. Now with your left arm, reach all the way out to the left with your palm down on the floor, and then look with your eyes out at the tips of your fingertips. So here we're gently pressing the legs to the right and stretching your left arm to the left and looking in the direction of your outstretched fingers. We'll hold here for a minimum of 3 minutes. And as soon as you can, increase your hold time to a full 5 minutes for maximum benefit. If for some reason you are in the pose twister now, but you don't feel a big stretch, first make sure your legs are crossed very tightly and very high up on the thighs for the first cross. You don't want any gap between the legs here, so squeeze them together tightly. Also, if you're not feeling a stretch and feel you could go deeper, do try to double cross your legs, as that will increase the intensity. Lastly, feel your fingertips reaching out to the left on the side and your legs pressing down to the right in a big twist, assisted by gravity. In our day-to-day lives, we don't do much lateral twisting. And so when we do occasionally do it, it's one of the most common ways that people injure their spine. Someone twists and then lifts something, for example, or reaches up at an angle to get a book off of a shelf. Often injuries that occur are simply due to the fact that we're stiff and have lost our natural twisting range of motion. So this pose twister helps make up for that lost flexibility, and it does it in a hurry. Using nose to mouth breathing, let's practice here together. Inhale completely through the nose. Exhale all the way out through the mouth. Inhale deeply through the nose. And exhaling through the mouth. One more time, inhale. And exhaling through the mouth. Good. We're nearly there. Stay with me until we reach the full 5 minutes if possible. Continue breathing on your own with your body relaxed, going deeper and deeper into the posture. Pins and needles. Kneel down on the floor with your legs tucked under you. Now bring your knees together, bring your ankles to touch together behind you, and tuck your toes under as though you were going to stand up, but don't. Sit down. So the bent toes are on the ground in the back and your bent knees are touching the ground in the front. Next, take your hands behind your back and start by touching the fingertips together behind your back. If possible, wiggle and shimmy and slide the hands all the way flat together, moving them up to your middle back in a reverse prayer position. Finally, sit back onto the heels of the feet so that all the weight is in your heels, pressing down into the feet. Lift your chin away from your chest, close your eyes, and breathe here. This is a pose that looks extremely easy, but in reality is very, very challenging. The strongest stretch you'll feel here is in your feet, your toes, the arches of your foot, and your ankles. You'll also feel this in your wrists and your shoulders opening in the upper body as well. Usually within a minute or two, this stretch in the feet becomes very intense, and it might feel like your toes are going to break off. Don't worry, they won't break. Stay in the pose and breathe deeply. Provided your knees feel okay, the minimum hold time here is 2 minutes. If possible, stay with me for the full 3 minutes, which is just enough time to get a very big stretch. You'll find that your natural tendency is to lean forward here. Your body will want to lift away from the heels. Do your best to counter that by sitting down heavily into your feet and gently lifting your chin away from your chest. Nose to mouth breathing will help you relax here and allow you to hold the pose longer. Inhale deeply through the nose and exhaling completely through the mouth. We're nearly there. Stay with it, breathing to your own rhythm.